What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today is Tuesday, July 30th. The month is closing out, and I believe Washington just completed its second week of practice. I think they're doing 3 practices, then a break in between to give the players some rest and relaxation time and some time for recovery. Sixth practice day, seventh day of training camp. And according to Ben Standig and a lot of media pundits alike that were in attendance today, this was the best day of practice so far. Guys are catching a rhythm. Offense had a good day, which is led by our starting quarterback and our rookie, Jayden Daniels. He had his sharpest day of training camp so far. Something Dan Quinn said in his presser today gave me just a little bit of RG3 PTSD, but we're not going to hold Jayden Daniels to that so far. But so we're getting very limited information each practice. It's clear that we're not allowed to know but so much. But thanks to my boy Josh Taylor, who has boots on the ground there, we're going to follow his rundown and outline of how practice went today. But according to everything I've gathered from all the media guys, Jayden in the offense had a day. The defense was making plays today. The rookie class, Brandon Coleman, Mikey Sanders still, Jayden Daniels, Jordan McGee and company, all showing up today. Jahan and Terry had a good day. Jahan is looking more like himself as the practices go on. Apparently, the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark and company, they are in attendance at practice. They are going to be interviewing somebody. My boy Jalen, shout out Bleeding B&G, sub his channel up. I think he said Joe Witt Jr. is very close with Ryan Clark. That could be the guy coming on the show. Maybe it's Dan Quinn. You never know. Josh Harris and Josh Harris and AP were cited at practice, even took some pictures with some fans today. There were 2 forced fumbles by the defense. I know Louvu recovered one, and Mikey Sanders still forced another. Frankie Louvu has just been all advertised so far, all world so far. I cannot wait to see this guy get after it as a linebacker and as a pass rusher. This is a guy who had a 7-sack season before. Can't wait to see him get out. High motor, hair on fire type guy. He's fast as shit, according to Nikki Jabwala of the Washington Post, one of the lead beat writers for the team. The offensive line starters are exactly what they were on paper going into the spring session today. We'll get into that in a second. And we caught some strays as an organization, one by a former player and one by a superstar receiver of another team who I don't know why he's thinking about us in July of 2024 going into training camp when his team has a nasty work quarterback competition they need to sort out. We're going to talk about all those things as we get to it. But yeah, day 6 of training camp. I love to hear everything we heard about Jayden Daniels so far. You want to know what's funny? You, just like me, have seen 1,000 quarterbacks come through this program, come through Ashburn for training camp so far. You've seen it. I've seen it. You know what the vibes are. We always know when quarterbacks have a bad practice here because the media goes out of their way to let us know they had a bad practice. Not only that, fans are crowding Twitter, X, as Elon calls it now. We know when a quarterback has a bad practice. We know when the media is trying to watch their words and put on kid gloves because they don't want to just shit on a young guy's confidence. So we would know if Jayden was struggling at all through 6 practices. Jayden has not struggled at all through 6 practices. And for that, we are right on schedule. Don't be worried about this charade competition. Dan Quinn comes from that Pete Carroll system. Always compete, always compete. He couldn't even look his veterans in the eyes if he just handed out a rookie the quarterback position job before even seeing him compete for it. He's going to let the locker room see it. He's going to let the team make one kumbaya decision. That's the fucking guy. Don't be confused. Don't get it twisted. Nobody in that building thinks Mariota's the guy, but they are sticking to their plan, and he is earning the trust and he is earning the full camaraderie of the team, seeing that's our leader. That's our quarterback, and he went out and worked for it. Dan Quinn is establishing a culture here. I know we don't want to hear the word culture. I know it scares the absolute shit out of most Washington fans after the last 25 years. But for Dan Quinn and Adam Peters to instill the culture of competition, it goes for everybody. And you can't just give the rookie quarterback a job before he's shown capable. But according to what everybody has to say about the guy, he is more than capable. Jahan spoke today and he said him and Terry were just talking about it. He said, Jayden is a special talent. He puts the ball in places where only the receivers can get it, and that takes a special ability to do so. Guys are absolutely blushing when they gush about Jayden Daniels. The locker room knows it, and you've been seeing the reports at practice so far. Marcus Mariota has looked a little bit like ass juice since practice has begun. We know Marcus ain't winning this job unless injury occurs. Knock on wood. We're not even going to speak that into existence. But let's see what my boy Josh was talking about at practice today. He said they got some energy out there to start the day. You know, they do the bags drill, get the music pumping, get everybody's blood rushing to start the practice. Same rotation of punt and kick return guys with Dotson, Forbes, Sandra Steele, Dax Milne, Jamison Crowder, Eckler, Kaz, and Demir Bird. But let's talk about it. Jayden apparently had a couple deep balls today. He had a deep, pretty throw to Olamide Zaccheaus on the right sideline. Olamide Zaccheaus is probably going to make this football team. He was targeted by the staff. He was targeted by the front office, and he has a rapport built with Jayden Daniels already. I'm really hoping we see a little bit of Jayden in our preseason debut next week versus the New York Jets. Fingers crossed for that. And I hope we get hella clips out of joint practice next week. B-Rob with a big run up the middle. Sandra still sneaks up behind him and pops the ball out. Mikey Sandra still doing his best Peanut Tillman impression so far, forces a fumble. Love to see that. Austin Eckler with a shifty big run to the right. Guys are flying around today. Jayden Daniels with a dart to Jahan Dotson. Play action rollout to the right and hit him on the sideline. Louvu is popping shit today, so click to read and react to plays. Jayden hit Terry on a short pass to the left and immediately ran across the field to Terry to talk about the play afterwards when they subbed him out. And he said he likes Michael Wiley, but also play of the day, Jayden hit a deep beauty to Terry. The fans go wild. Deep ball to Terry McLaurin. Things rarely go wrong when Terry is running a deep route. That's his bread and butter. He's a speed receiver and a vertical threat. When Terry goes deep, good things happen. The team social media better spam that on our timelines by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. By end of business, I need to see this Terry McLaurin deep ball from Jayden Daniels because you can get used to it. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that coming. Jahan Dotson had himself a day. We love to hear that. We want to see what Jahan looks like in a decent system and with his confidence and morale back. Scored a touchdown on the first play of red zone drill. Corner route pass from Marcus Mariota. See, Mariota still getting one reps. Don't fret over it. Don't fret over it. Don't trip over it. Time is coming, y'all. Don't worry about it. First play in red zone drills is a QB draw for a touchdown. That QB draw play is a play we used to kill Bamas with back in the day. We used to get Bamas out of here with RG3 in 2012 with that play. Josh said a fan just told Josh Harris to go get Brandon Ayuk, and he points to Adam Peters. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. It's nice to have an owner that fans can actually go out there and joke around with and converse with and bro with. Dan Snyder would never. We actually got to kick it with his wife a few times, but we were never going to kick it with Dan Snyder himself. But you love to see it. A lot of good things are happening here. Injury note today, or I think injury note, Benjamin St. Juste was only out for individual drills, was only out there for individual drills today. He went inside the building and did not return for team drills. So that's something to monitor down the stretch. And our starting offensive line from left to right as drills took place was Left tackle, Brandon Coleman, the rookie out of TCU. Left guard, the free agent acquisition that we locked into a 3-year deal, Nick Allegretti from Kansas City. Our starting center, once again, Tyler Biadasz. I think if there's two things you could put in ink when it comes to this offensive line, it's Tyler Biadasz at center and Sam Cosmi at right guard. He takes his place there. Sam Cosmi's looking for the money. And at right tackle, Andrew Wiley. I think this is most likely going to be your starting offensive line going into week 1. But hey, what do I know? But good day of practice. It seemed like it was balanced on both sides. The offense got theirs. The defense got theirs. Frankie Louvu is everywhere. Mikey Sainris still has the nickel job on lock. I know someone's probably out there saying, how come Jayden has to earn this job, but Mikey Sainris still doesn't? Mikey Sainris still is a different situation than the quarterback. He's out there competing against himself. He is the nickel. Yes, Quan Martin can play some of the nickel, but Quan Martin's probably going to start at free safety for us next to Jeremy Chin. Mikey Sainris still was drafted to be the nickel. He is the nickel, and he has solidified that role since the day he stepped in here. He's looked good since spring, and it's transferring over. Love to hear it. Forbes and Jeremy Chin out there building a rapport. Love to hear that as well. Jerzon Johnny Newton is participating at practice, and according to my boy Serge the Shooter, shout out to Gang, he said he looks explosive as hell. When he was getting out there, he was getting in the backfield in a second and a half every time. That's what we drafted him to do. We drafted him to get after it. We drafted him to be a defensive tackle with the ability to get in the backfield and get after the quarterback. Dan Quinn in his post-practice presser made a joke about the Nats teaching Jayden Daniels how to slide, and that gave me war flashbacks to 2012 because RG3 could not protect himself, and Bryce Harper and the Nationals were like literally coming out in pressers saying they'll help Robert and teach him how to slide. It gave me quick PTSD and war flashbacks, but it's nothing that we should be concerned about. I think Jayden plays with enough awareness and football IQ that he knows how to get down on a regular basis. I don't think that's something we need to be worried about, but that's about it from practice. Jayden and the offense shined. I think the team's going to be off tomorrow because we're doing practices 3 on, a day off, 3 on, a day off. It's our second day in pads, third day in a row because they went Sunday, Monday, Tuesday after having Saturday off. But Washington was caught with 2 strays this week. First one by a star receiver that has nothing to do with this play. So Devontae Adams, star receiver of the Las Vegas Raiders, formerly of the Green Bay Packers, and one of the featured star receivers on Netflix's Receiver series. Him and Amon-Ra we're doing an interview on my favorite program from Complex, Hot Ones. First We Feast, Hot Ones with Sean Evans. Well, they were doing a player versus player Hot Ones episode. Devontae Adams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And they're talking about the worst fan bases. And we catch the most random stray from Tay Adams. He said, man, I hate going to play the Washington Commanders because their fans are miserable because their stadium sucks and the city sucks. And he said, man, I'm probably going to have somebody at my door waiting for me after this. But he said, the fans are miserable because the stadium sucks and the city sucks. I'm assuming he's talking about the city that the stadium's in and the outward facing cities, which is Landover, Maryland, that area, because that area is dreck. There's nothing over there. And it's just a porous, desolate, post-apocalyptic, ran through Walking Dead looking ass city over there. It's why there's no reason why that area should be considered for the next stadium. I get where he's coming from, but guy, it's like someone going on your friend or family member. We can say those things about our stadium. We can say those things about our fan base. We can say those things about us. But as an outsider, you can't say that shit about us. So Devontae Adams is on my fuck you list right now. You can't talk about us. We don't know you. You don't know us. We just caught a stray on a Tuesday afternoon for no reason. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. And yes, I agree with the things he was saying, but that got to come from me. That got to come from one of you. That can't come from an outsider. And we caught another stray when Antonio Gibson was, oh, yeah, they just do things better here in New England. I come from such a struggling organization in Washington. Once again, I'm not mad at the message. I am mad at the messenger. Not from that fucking guy. I don't want to hear anything negative about this organization coming from Mr. Fumblerooski. Mr. Butterfingers, Little Giants, put some stickum on his hand when he gets a handoff as Antonio Gibson. Mr. Turtle Shell, Banana Peel, Mario Kart cleat ass Antonio Gibson falls every time he touches the ball. Mr. Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder through the hole, Trent Richardson vision as Antonio Gibson. Not him. I don't want to hear anything negative coming from that fucking guy. That guy left more yards on the field than he rushed for here in DC. And his only glimpses of glory were when we overfed him the ball in 2021 or when we threw him the ball because he's still a wide receiver playing out of place as a running back. Don't want to hear that from Antonio Gibson. So Devontae Adams and Antonio Gibson, eat a dick. But we march on towards the preseason. Another 3 days of practice are in the books, and I believe we're going to get a break tomorrow, and we're back at it on Thursday. Today was sponsor and season ticket day at Washington training camp. I'm so excited about everything so far. We got a rookie quarterback that ain't even had a bad practice yet. It's coming at some point. He may stink the joint up at joint practices versus a really good Jets defense. You never know. But the preseason and the training camp session of the offseason is the time we want guys to make a mistake. So if it's going to happen, let's see it soon. But everything has been as advertised so far. The coaching staff, the ownership group, the mood, the professionalism, the culture of the team through a week of practices, 6 practices, 7 days. Everything is going according to plan as of right now, and I cannot wait to see more. Washington Commanders social media team, by the time I have this video out, I'm going to need y'all to have that Jayden to Terry deep ball loaded up on all social media platforms. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Commander Rio, out.
Michael Vick here at BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.